Hello, everyone, and welcome to Record Club. When I first started this show, way back when in 2023.
Yeah. When you were thinking of, what's a
a
new Patreon exclusive
When I was thinking, well, I mentioned a long time ago that, like, hey, Sean, people want you to have a show, as Rocco told me. People want you to do something. Like, I don't know what I'll do. I don't know.
Yeah, we all have our thing.
And I decided to do this show, and my original pitch of this show was like, one day I'll get the Beatles and Rocco's Dead on, or one day I'll have Nirvana, have Garrett on, and then it came to be. But little would I guessed that you would have picked the chip.
Yeah, because I was on the David Bowie episode.
Yes.
And then, boom, here we are.
I had realized you have done back-to-back episodes. You've gone on a streak, a wild streak.
Really?
You have. Because you did the B-52s, and then you pulled Sex Pistols right after that.
Oh, so those were back-to-back.
Back-to-back, and then it was one break of, I think it was Roxy Music, which you almost came on.
Yeah, I almost did.
And then it was David Bowie, and now it's this. So I don't know how this is happening.
Hey, and we didn't even mention, and we didn't find out until after we got home.
Oh, yeah.
I got home from recording the David Bowie Ziggy Stardust episode.
Yeah.
And then realized it was David Bowie's birthday that day we recorded it.
We had no idea.
We had no idea
that
Black Star came out.
Black Star came out.
And yeah, he died the next day.
That's crazy.
Like the day after his birthday. It was like 1 or 2 days after his birthday.
The album didn't come out the day he died?
I think he...
I don't know.
Figured it out to where the album came out on his birthday and he happened to die the next day or something like that.
Crazy.
Something like that. Anyway, this ain't about Bowie.
It's not. You know what? If you want Bowie, watch last week's episode.
Go back to last week's episode.
You can watch it again.
Yeah.
That's the best part. You can watch it again and again.
Over and over, forever.
Well, today we are talking about the 1991 classic, this is the number 6 album of all time, according to Rolling Stone.
Yeah, rock music,
This changed the trajectory of a lot of just music in general.
In general, yeah, because of the astronomical success of this album.
Yeah. So
this pierced the mainstream, in ways that, I don't think Kurt Cobain, Chris Novoselic, and Dave Grohl could have understood.
100% they did not. So we're going to get into Nirvana, Nevermind. Garrett.
Yeah.
Would you say that, is Nirvana your favorite band?
Yeah.
They are.
Nirvana is, it's interesting, like on the previous episodes we've talked about stuff, even like with the David Bowie thing, I talked about how I discovered all of that through my parents.
Right.
This band, Nirvana, was the first time that I was discovering my own music and not just like getting into something from a family member, a friend, or something like that.
Did you get into this when it came out?
Yes.
So you were
as this was debuting.
Wow.
I was in middle school. I was
10?
on the way. What?
What year were you born?
I was born in 1982.
Okay, so you were 9 when this came out.
So I was 9 when I came out. When this came out.
Whoa, dude.
Wait, does that make sense?
No, if you were 9, you'd probably be in 3rd grade. Well,
no, I was in middle school when this came out.
Okay.
At least when I was discovering my own music, and it was this MTV wave of like Offspring, Soundgarden, Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, like all this grunge era stuff. But yeah, I was in middle school. I remember I have a super vivid memory of me and my friend Martin Nowinski on the school bus, and every year of middle school, there was this one field trip that was on a weekend, and everyone from the school went to Knott's Berry Farm.
Whoa.
It was like an optional field trip. You had to pay for it.
Damn.
But it was weird. It wasn't like in the normal school day, but it was this optional trip, and I did it all 3 years of middle school and loved it, but I don't know if anyone else did this. But I remember driving up to Knott's Berry Farm, sitting on the yellow school bus next to my friend Martin Nowinski, and he's like, check this out, and hands me his cassette player with this tape put in it, and that was the first time I had heard Smells Like Teen Spirit, the opening album.
I also did a field trip to Knott's Berry Farm
when I was in middle?
5th grade. So
okay, 5th
a little
grade.
bit before middle. But That's interesting. That's so far away. Why not Spray Farm? That's weird that we did that.
I don't know, but it was, I guess like high schools do grad night at Disneyland and stuff like that. But this was a weird thing where it was like, hey, you're in 6th grade. You've never been on like a trip without, parental supervision before. It was a weird time. And then also my life was forever altered by jamming this album for the entire 2-hour trip up and down. Like, I remember trading off headphones, me and Martin, back and forth
to listen
to it, and it was like I get an earbud, he gets an earbud, and it was just like he's like showed me this band as it had just come out, and I was like, this is amazing. Now maybe I didn't find this actual album. You said this was released in 91?
91.
Maybe I got it in 92. When the music videos started.
I mean, that's
out.
the thing is like it became like it came out in September of 91, and it was pretty much instantly a hit, but once it hit the MTV thing, then it like exploded.
Oh yeah,
and it became like #1 in 92. So maybe it was that. For me, this was still one of my dad's bands. My dad,
really?
My dad introduced me to this, but my dad introducing me to music isn't like, Sean, I think you would like this. It's like time to clean the house, and he puts on this, or
that's cool.
whatever. So. Same with like, Metallica and Black Sabbath, all those bands. This was just part of it.
Yeah.
My dad was always pretty hip into like what's new, the new music.
Sure.
And like, so.
This was the first thing that like I found on my own and my parents hated.
Oh, see, they hated it.
Yeah, because like they were into Michael Jackson. The music that I got from them were like movie soundtracks, Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Kiss. Rock music, but from the 70s and 80s. And then this was the new kid on the block and all over MTV. And I was like, holy shit, instantly obsessed. I mean, once I heard that tape, I was getting banned. That was my first band shirts from Hot Topic.
Dang, it was Nirvana.
Were Nirvana shirts, probably from In Utero at that point. But like this band was my first like identifiable fascination with rock and roll. It was like I made my entire personality this band.
I do remember him putting it on and me like, what? Like stopping my tracks. I would just be cleaning.
Yeah.
But I remember there's times like, what is this? Like I was like really like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like
because the soundscape is wild. And for 3 musicians, that is also something that blew my mind where 3. I realize now you can make super full, and that the super full sound goes to Butch Vig, the engineer on this.
Right.
But the fact that 3 people could make rock and roll music with just a simplified guitar, drums, and bass, and everyone's doing double duty. Kurt's singing and playing guitar.
Right.
Dave
is also singing in a couple
on
parts.
One song.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, I always knew that.
I didn't know that, and I was.
We'll get to that. Territorial Pistons.
Yeah.
Or which one is that?
So, So I've always associated this band and this album. Like, I mean, would you say is this your favorite Nirvana album? Or?
My favorite song of all time, my #1 song in the world is on this album.
Oh, can I guess?
This is probably sure you can guess. We'll get to it.
Okay. Oh,
what do you guess though? I'll just tell you if you're right or not.
Oh yeah. My guess, favorite song of all time.
Yeah. What do you think? It's on this album.
Okay, so
it's definitely my favorite Nirvana song.
I don't think it smells like
Teen
Spirit.
Nah, it's too commercial.
That's exactly. I knew that about you. Now, would it be like Lithium? Maybe.
No.
Fuck.
No. All right, you got one. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Okay.
Lithium's a great song, but
maybe In Bloom. Okay, we'll get to it.
But I mean, this is definitely like my favorite band.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, and there's something interesting that happens when you're growing up, and your first favorite band, it kind of gets put on the shelf in your 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying there?
You've heard it.
Oh my God. I mean, I lived it. I made it my identity. I went to the hairdresser and asked to get my hair straightened because I wanted to look like Kurt Cobain.
What was
I wore a mohair sweater that I still will wear on the podcast from time to time. I got a wallet chain. I made my identity this band.
Dang.
And was completely obsessed. But then, something happens where it's dated after a point. And
Yeah,
then, you kind of put that, it's still your favorite band, but you kind of like stop listening to them every day, and you
Right.
kind of put your posters away and these things.
Yeah.
But like, this, it impacted me in such a way. I have tattoos that are,
you do.
Nirvana
tattoos.
tattoos inspired by Kurt's artwork from In Utero. But like this album, this is the thing that really like cemented them in the pop culture, but also tuned me on as a little MTV generation, viewer. I was just like locked in on
And
whatever the fuck these guys were doing, however they were dressing, whatever they sounded like. I wanted to be that.
Yeah, and I will say that, like, they say that, like, Kurt Cobain with this album became the voice of a generation.
That he did not want to be.
That was not what he wanted.
Yeah.
But, I feel like that generation was older than us. Like, we were still the kids.
This was that thing where I thought I was Generation X,
Me
because
too.
I looked up to like my aunt who was a little older, who was Gen X, or like other, like these guys that are Gen Xers.
Yeah.
I looked up to them, so I kind of identified like, I'm a Gen X.
That's me too. But that's not us.
Well, I learned in like 2006 I'm a fucking millennial, so I guess.
But you know what they call us?
What?
Geriatric millennials. Legitimately.
That's too.
That's what they call us,
it.
because we're the old.
We're the old
millennials.
Call me a young Gen Xer.
We're this weird generation of like people who can vividly remember a time before the internet, but also grew up with the internet at the same time. So we have that like weird little.
God, I miss before the internet, when I just used to take my Sony
little cassette.
Walkman, and so this is this is, what'd you say, 91?
91. Yep.
I wonder when this one was actually produced, because like I said, I probably got into them in 92. But this is a first printing, I think. It says 91 on it.
That's sick.
And it doesn't have the secret track, which we'll get to later. But
I-
that was like how I got this. This thing probably, the cases beat the shit, because I think I took this everywhere with me for like the following 10 years.
Yeah.
Whenever I took a car ride, whenever I took my
took that-
Walkman anywhere,
you took the
this
cassette.
tape came with me.
That is so sick. Now, I will say that I always loved this band.
Yeah.
And I think what really helped and cemented it for me was when Weird Al did his cover. Like, I was a kid still, and like that was let me say this. That was the first time I got what Weird Al was doing, because I had heard this one first.
And you knew it.
And I knew it.
Ah.
And then I heard the Weird Al version. I'm like, this is the funniest thing that's ever happened.
You're
And
talking
then-
Smells Like Nirvana?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I got, that's what he does with all the songs. I just didn't know those songs before. Like, I was always like, I would hear like,
you understood his gimmick.
I heard
all
like
of
a surgeon first, and then I heard like a virgin go, oh, but this was I heard it the first time this way.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now, I like the story of Weird Al calling Kurt Cobain.
And asking permission.
Yeah, which I believe it happened on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. SNL.
During SNL, what was the girl in UHF who ended up going a little crazy? She was also on Saturday Night Live. I forget her name. Victoria something.
Jackson.
Yeah, Victoria Jackson.
She's very Christian and very
she
fundamental now.
Turned a little nutty. But Nirvana was the musical guest. So Weird Al called his friend who was in UHF, Victoria Jackson, like, can I talk to Nirvana? Is that possible? And she said that Kurt Cobain was walking by and just handed Kurt Cobain the phone. And he's like, hello? And then it was like, hi, this is Weird Al.
Dude.
But I was wondering if I could do a parody of your song. And then the story, what Weird Al says is he goes, it's not about food, is it? And he's like, no, it's about how people can't understand what the lyrics are saying. He's like, yeah, it's pretty funny. That's fine. And then like gave the phone back and then went on to perform. So funny.
Talk about guys that I'd never seen rock stars in interviews ever that had a disdain for the interviewer.
God.
A silly sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just cool. Now learning like John Lennon was kind of like that with interviewers back in the day.
But I didn't realize that.
I didn't know that back then. So the first time I ever saw someone, busting balls with the interviewer, it was like Kurt and Dave. And yeah, that really went a long way too. The anti-establishment.
Yeah, or also like they weren't in it to get famous.
Yeah,
and it was
you could
very
tell.
clear.
That was the aesthetic of grunge. It's like they didn't even care to get
dressed
properly.
Yeah, exactly.
They just don't give a fuck about anything except for cigarettes and,
Yeah, they wore like thrift store clothes, which is like I was talking.
It started a whole revolution of
this,
us shopping at thrift stores.
Well, I did that a lot before, And I think we went to we went shopping at Mervyn's once a year for back to school shopping. The rest of the year we went to thrift stores to get clothes because I don't think we had a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so we just did that. So like seeing famous people wear thrift store clothes, I was like, oh fuck yeah! I was being
vindicated.
I was really excited.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like they're wearing old sweaters. Like I have to wear too. That's fucking cool. So, okay, so this album is interesting. So I know this album back to front.
Same. And this is their second album after Bleach, where
right.
They were signed with Sub
Sub
Pop.
Pop.
And even in the 80s, they signed with Sub Pop. I mean, the Bleach came out in 89, I believe.
Yeah, and Sub Pop was like the Seattle label to be on.
That was the Seattle label, right? You got Mudhoney, you got the Jesus Lizard.
It kind of got to a point, I think, where Sub Pop was like...
Soundgarden was on Sub Pop?
Yeah, but they were like also kind of struggling a little bit.
Right.
So they signed to Sub Pop, released Bleach. It did pretty good. I mean, it was good enough for, whatever. But Sub Pop, the label itself, was in talks of like working with a bigger label. And so they were like, okay, so what we're going to do is like you're still our band, but we'll talk to the big label for you.
Oh, cool.
And then we're going to
We'll get distribution through them.
Yeah, and we'll get through them. And then I think it was Kurt was like, well, why don't we cut out the middleman and just go to a big label then at that point? Like,
let's talk to David Geffen.
Yeah, at this point, like, why are we going to pay them to do what? I don't know.
Yeah.
But before that happened, they went to, I don't remember, it was Wisconsin.
Okay.
Early sessions with Butch Vig.
Which was the final engineer on the album.
So in early 1990, Nirvana began planning their second album for Sub Pop. And tentatively, it was called Sheep. At the suggestion of Sub Pop, Nirvana selected Butch Vig as a producer, and then the band liked Butch Vig because he worked with the band Killdozer, which I guess Kurt was into.
He was into Killdozer,
and so they traveled to Butch Vig's studio, Smart Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, and they recorded from April 2nd to April 6th, 1990. So they recorded, I think it was like 8 songs, and then Nirvana did a show the next night in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And Kurt blew out his voice and
singing,
fucked up his vocal cords and couldn't continue with recording.
It was the way he sings. We'll get into this when we talk about certain songs, but the way he sings, he uses his throat.
Yeah, Dave.
And that's not sustainable.
Dave Grohl says it sounds like he's gargling like nails or gargling gravel. It's just like it's just so heavy and hard. And so but they had to kind of like scrap it. So Butch Vig, I think he was like pretty excited to work with Nirvana.
Yeah.
But he was like, well, I guess that's that. Like, like who even knows what's going to happen? And then they went back to Seattle and kind of had a falling out with their drummer at the time, Chad Channing.
Yeah.
And they kind of, I think, mutually agreed that like Chad Channing wanted to do more of the songwriting.
So he blew out his voice at a show, and then the next day they were supposed to go back and keep recording. So that's why Butch is like, okay, I guess we're fucked. Go back to Seattle.
I guess we're done.
So they only got those 6 songs.
They got, whatever, how many songs. And they're like, I guess that's it.
Did any of that end up on Nevermind?
One song did.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
And so...
From the first sessions,
Yes. So they recorded the sessions. Then they... kind of mutually agree because Chad Channing was like, I want to write songs too or be part of the process, and Kurt's like, that's not what this is. And then
you're the drummer.
Chris Novoselic was also like, I don't think so. And they've also at this point had already gone through several drummers. Like this wasn't their very first drummer, Chad Channing.
Yeah.
So then they kind of fucked around with a couple other drummers.
Dale Crover from Mudhoney. He stood in for a couple.
Right, a couple live shows, whatever. And then they were really impressed by Dave Grohl. He was in a band called Scream.
A fucking hardcore band.
Yeah. So they broke up, though.
Yes.
Scream,
as most hardcore bands do.
Yeah.
Scream in Seattle in the early 90s. Yeah, they had seen him, and they loved how hard he hit the drums.
Yeah.
And he fucking does hit the drums
He hits
hard.
the drum. And I've seen the interviews with Dave Grohl. For the record, I feel like Dave Grohl is like the ultimate rock like hero
icon.
To me, like Dave Grohl to me is like, as far as I'm aware, always very sweet and very positive. Fucking loves music, loves his mom, like everything about Dave Grohl. I just like, this guy's just a sweetheart. I just love Dave Grohl.
I think that's why he's gone so far in the industry, and we could do a whole, he's 1/3 of this band that made this insane album. So we can take our time talking about him without even mentioning the career he had after Kurt's death with the Foo Fighters.
Right.
Or any of the super groups he's been in and drummed for the Queens of the Stone Age.
Or Tenacious
Elton
D.
John or Tenacious D. Yeah, right. And just back then, though, like, this dude was like a genuinely like silly, but super nice. In all the interviews, it's like, even when like Novoselic could be kind of a dick.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dave would be the one guy still sitting there like smiling at the interviewer, like, I feel bad for you, man. But, like, just I think that's why he's gone so far and become such an icon in rock and roll, because of his personality. He's so easy to get along with. People want to work with you if you're like that.
So I heard an interview with him, maybe it was on Howard Stern, but how when he started holding the drumsticks backwards because he wanted it to be even louder.
Fucking loudest part.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
like biggest knob of the drum.
But
he's
like,
the head.
what was I doing? Like, I just had to be the loudest and the fastest and whatever.
But that's hard. You want to be in the loudest, most aggressive hardcore band in Seattle coming up.
Yeah. I mean, so definitely. So
you invent a new way to hold your drumsticks.
Exactly.
Or he probably saw someone do that, in the back of a drumming magazine.
Probably thought it was cool. So, anyways, they find Dave Grohl, and Chris Novoselic kind of said, like, once Dave practiced with us once, it was like, oh, this is it. Like, there's no question. We all agree. Like, Dave, I think, moved into Kurt's house like the next day.
Yeah.
And was like, this is just going to be the band, and this is Nirvana.
Yeah, it seemed like in these early days, Kurt and Dave lived together a lot.
Yeah, they did.
Not Chris. I think he either lived with girlfriends or who knows what was going on. But like in Aberdeen and in the early days of like floating around, shitty abandoned houses and stuff like that, it's always Dave and Kurt.
Yeah.
It's rooming up together.
Yeah. So then through a lot of weird circumstances, they end up being able to sign with, it wasn't Geffen Records per se, it was DGC Records, which is like a subsidiary of Geffen. So it was like a label that was smaller, but it's Geffen Records.
It's Geffen, but it's a smaller subsidiary called David Geffen Records.
There you go.
Homie named both of his record labels after himself. Who else does that? Arista? No. There's no Mr. Arista.
I don't know. It's a weird, whatever.
Nothing Interscope? That's not a real person.
So, Capital? Is it Dave Capital?
Yeah, I don't think so. I doubt it. Dave Geffen.
But they signed with them because it was recommended to them by Kim Gordon of Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
Said, like, hey, I think you'll like going over here. They ended up doing that, which is, the weird thing I think is, like, so Sub Pop paid for the first sessions with Butch Vig.
Okay.
In Wisconsin. Because that was, part of it. And so what I'm sure there was some deal that I don't know, but like somehow Butch Vig, I mean, somehow like they kept that, but Sub Pop paid for it, and then David Geffen's record company took that and now released it, and then they made money off it. So maybe they bought it off. I don't know how the fuck this happened.
Well, you said only one song of that original session made it out.
Do you want to guess what it is? Do you know?
God, is it something? I'd say Pauly.
Yeah, it's Pauly.
Okay, it's the most unusual. The reason I guess that is it is the standout from all the other tracks. It is the most unusual. It stands out from the rest.
Yes,
it's not unusual for them, but it stands out from the rest. And then also, it's the only song to ever be released on another album because they put a version of it on the follow-up to this, Incesticide, which was a lot faster and a lot different. But that kind of makes sense because this was a demo song that's been floating around since the like early 90s with them. They were doing different versions of it.
Well, they were playing it live back before Bleach even came out.
Yeah.
And so, but they just didn't put it on that album.
But that version on Nevermind was from the original Butch Vig section.
Right. And so that is the one song where the drums in that I could fucking do because it's just a bass and a cymbal at the same time. 4 times, that's it.
Yeah.
But that is Chad Channing and not Dave Grohl. And so
very interesting.
I was trying to figure it out, but I think Chad Channing got paid for that song.
Okay, interesting.
But not a lot. But he gets something, for Pauly. Anyways, so they recorded this. They went back. They got Butch Vig back. They insisted to get him back. He was kind of like a little, I think, intimidated.
Like, these guys are crazy.
Well, they're crazy, but also like I'm not the biggest thing. And now David Geffen's company is here.
Oh yeah.
And now we're in LA, and now we're doing. We're recording at Sound City Studios, where they've recorded like Fleetwood Mac Rumors in the same room, and now I'm doing this. Like, I might be in over my head a little bit, but he kind of just rolled with it. And so they had a budget of $65,000, and from May to June they recorded this album. Let me see. I don't know what else. We can start going through the tracks pretty soon. But a lot of the time, Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl would finish their tracks in days, and they would leave.
Oh.
And then Kurt would come in and do the lyrics, which they didn't even know what the songs were about sometimes. Like, I don't know what the lyrics even are. But we did our parts, and we're just going to go.
Right.
And so like, Kurt would just like write the lyrics. But
Later.
Kurt was very adamant that like there were some songs that he like had like a message and a point. But there's other songs where he's like, it's the music first and then the lyrics second. I care about, that's like the order of what he cared about.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's kind of the history of the making of the album. But now let's go into the actual album.
Let's
and for the first time on Record Club, let's
listen.
Playing just a second of the first song, which is Smells Like Teen Spirit. Ooh. I mean, that guitar.
Well, I've never heard this before.
Oh,
what is this?
Shit.
Oh. Yeah, that reminds me.
Okay. Now we know the song. Now we know the
Now
song.
we know what we're talking about.
I think
This is more helpful for us when we get to the B-sides. We can't remember which is which.
yeah.
But yeah, that opening guitar riff
Do you think
before the drums kick in.
I would say that is one of the most famous guitar riffs of all time.
It's way up there. It's way up there.
Instantly recognizable.
With Eddie Van Halen stuff. And it's so funny because it's up there with Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen and these guitar heroes.
Right.
Kurt played 3 chords.
Yeah.
And like
It's so simple.
But that simple opening to the track really did,
And I honestly think, 3 people made this album, as we said, but Butch Vig,
he's the fourth
had
member
a
here.
really important role. Like the idea of like starting it so simple, and then once the drums kick in, and it just like explodes.
And that part,
fucking dope.
That part of the song too is, it's loud. It's not a standard drum beat too. There's a lot going on in Dave's playing, and that's the first time you get to hear. Because if you had Bleach previous to that,
It's the first time hearing Dave Grohl.
This is the first time you're hearing drums as heavy as this.
Yeah, this
quite a
is
change up, because the Bleach almost sounded like this garage punk band's kind of 4-track recording, right? And then here we have the most produced. And that's not a bad thing, saying that this was super produced. Not overproduced, but perfectly produced, where you're getting like the guys harmonizing their lyrics, their vocals. You're getting doubling of vocals.
Right.
And you're getting all these tricks that you can't do in a bedroom with a 4-track recorder for the first time out of them.
Yeah, I think that this is the first single on the album.
Yeah.
But
this is where everyone, I feel like, heard about
and
them.
I think a lot of it was to do with the music video.
I was just going to bring that up. The music video of them in a gymnasium with a deranged janitor
and then
cheerleaders and a bunch of disgruntled youths.
I saw an interview with the director of that music video.
Oh, okay.
And he said that Kurt had the idea of a fucked up high school.
Yeah.
He watched some movie. And he was like, "That's a funny idea. Like we should
Interesting.
But it was like people fucking up at school. And
Yeah.
he was like obsessed with that. He's like, we should definitely do that for the video. But then they had like directors send their like
reels,
their sizzle reels.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, mine was terrible. I was the worst director. He's like, my stuff was just like, it looked weird and bad, and I didn't know how to light things correctly, whatever. I honestly think that's what drew Kurt in, was like, this guy is weird. Like, we should go with him.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, that made his whole career. Was like, this music video was a big fucking deal.
He directed 3 of the 4 music videos for this album.
Yeah, and they're all great for the record.
Yeah.
I think they're all good. But so this video is this. I mean, it's super iconic, and I know you've seen it.
You know, the janitor's going with his mop in the bucket, and you know.
Like I guess they had like real fans come
Kurt's
in.
got that Freddy Krueger sweater on that he was known for.
And so when they started doing
the real moshing and stuff.
Yeah, the director kept being like, cut, but no one could hear it. So they just kept filming it, getting more and more fucked up, but then they just used it. And
Yeah.
It looks fucking cool. But it completely changed the face and the look of MTV. There was nothing like this on MTV. They played it on some like show called like
Headbangers Ball or something?
something like that, or 125 minutes or something weird.
Oh, yeah. I remember that show.
And so, but then once it got into their main rotation, then like everyone took note and it changed.
This is before
everything.
TRL, so
Yeah.
it was just in the rotation. It would come on, I don't know. Back then on MTV, this would maybe come on every fucking hour.
Oh yeah,
Easily.
all the time.
And that's 24-hour cable cycle, and every hour
It was the
you're getting It Smells
ridiculousn's
Like
of
Teen-
today's world. You know, that's
Yeah.
always on. It was this video. It was
Yeah.
always on. So, anyways, you know, so we're talking about the song itself, though. It Smells Like
Sure.
Teen Spirit, which they had it in the chat. Something Hannah of Bikini Kill. I forget her first name.
Sure.
Maybe Hannah was her first name.
Oh, she had a
she-
house they hung out at.
Yeah, and then she wrote on the house, on the wall, or like whatever.
Like in the
Kurt-
bedroom, on the wall, it was scribbled.
And it said, "Kurt smells like Teen Spirit."
Yeah.
is what she wrote. And so he thought she was referring to like just like youth.
Yeah.
I smell like teen, but that's a cool song.
He didn't know it was a deodorant
He did not
brand?
know it was a deodorant brand.
Oh, that's so
and
funny.
he found out later, like, oh, you're talking about the deodorant? Like, whatever. But like, it doesn't matter. But
Hey,
like,
he's pH balanced. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
it's not an insult.
yeah. So, anyways, I thought that was just a fun little tidbit.
Yeah, that is where the name came from, right?
Yeah.
Smells like Teen Spirit.
Smells like Teen Spirit. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to talk about this song? Because we could go deep into all this.
No. I mean,
We're already half an hour in. Oh,
yeah,
we're in trouble.
that's. What do you say about the most popular song? Right?
I mean, here's the thing: is I absolutely love this song, but now I don't listen to it because I've heard it too much.
Sure.
You know, but I recognize it's a beautiful, great song. We even covered this song. I don't know if you know this, but the episode with Dick, the Beatles episode,
that was the song.
the number 5 song of all time is this song.
So you talked about that.
So we talked
song.
about this song.
What did Dick think about that?
He didn't like it.
Didn't like Teen Spirit when it came
No,
out.
he doesn't like-
Does he appreciate it now?
I don't think he really.
Nah,
I don't think so. I mean, maybe,
It's generational. I get it.
you know, talking to Dick, it really does seem like what he loves, he is all in. But like he doesn't want. Like, he's like, I don't know. You know, it's like I don't think he like.
Yeah.
But I think he said at first he didn't really like it. Maybe it's growing on him a little bit. But
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
okay. Now let's go to the next song.
In Bloom. This drumming
Oh
is
my god, so good.
so good.
Oh, it's so good. Sell the kids for food, bro.
I this is the second music video as well. In Bloom got a music
is
video.
this the one where it's like the old school looking?
It's black and white, and it's like a Dick Cavett show, or
Yeah.
like it's like you would see the Doors performing on a variety show in the '60s, right?
Mhm.
And it's all shot in black and white, and they have a cheesy set, and they're dressed up in like little suits, and they look like their hair's parted in the middle.
I
and
think
they look like Poindexters.
they do, and I fucking love. I remember thinking that was the coolest fucking
Yeah.
thing.
The video starts to break down too because the song is really heavy, and then they start appearing in dresses, which I think
Yeah.
is iconic thing that Kurt would wear a dress. Eat Your Heart Out. Who's the new kid who does that all the time? Harry Styles.
Harry Styles, yeah.
Yeah. But Kurt would show up in a dress in certain concerts or certain events. But this video was like the first time you saw the whole band in drag.
Yeah, and it was.
And they're tearing apart the set. They're smashing their
yeah.
instruments.
They're just destroying everything. So I don't think Jenny would care, but Jenny also. If it wasn't for you on this thing, I would have had Jenny.
Oh,
'Cause
had
Jenny
Jenny?
also
Oh, yeah, yeah.
fucking. I could have probably had both of you guys. So Jenny fucking loves Nirvana. She for a little bit, her and her friend were doing wedding flowers, just for like on the side, just like as a little side thing to do
Side
because they're
hustle.
really good at it, you know.
Yeah.
And they're little business name was In Bloom.
Well, that's great.
And it was no accident. It was like
no accident.
She was like, no, let's call it In Bloom. That's fucking cool.
It's an homage.
It's an homage to Nirvana. Anyways, so I think this could be my favorite song on the album.
In Bloom, it's a good one.
Maybe I will be real. I think every song on this album is great in its own way, but this is, it's really good. It's a really good song.
It is.
Maybe my second favorite, but
I
it's
can
really
see
good.
why they made a music video out of it too. Like this song is consistent, kind of like it holds that Nirvana sound from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Some of the songs kind of like start out slow, ramp up. This is another one like with Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's like it has this perfectly produced sound to it that a band of this caliber should never have achieved. It's
right,
like,
and that's the thing.
How did this garage band get such beautiful sounding toms and hi-hats and everything is fucking voluminous in its own perfect little orchestrated way.
It's true, and they say it later on. Dave Grohl says like Kurt Cobain wrote pop songs. Like, these are all pop songs.
Yeah,
but they put a heavy. They fuck them up. But like deep down in this root, this is a great pop song. It's all that.
And you get the vocal style out of Kurt that's just very, I don't care, don't want to be here. And then when the chorus finally hits, it's, you got the vocal
and it's them
fry or whatever he's doing with his throat to distort his vocals and scream.
Yeah. Is this the one that, this is the one that Dave Grohl is also singing in, right? He sings in this song.
Well, I think that the secret to a lot of the songs on this whole album are the vocal harmonies that you don't really hear. And there's a great documentary just about this album.
Yes.
It's called Nevermind, I think, Behind the Music.
Yes, I watched that.
It's a fantastic documentary where Butch Vig is sitting there in his studio and he's going like, here, listen to just Kurt sing. Boom. Here's where I convinced Kurt to double his vocals.
Which he didn't want to do, but I told him that John Lennon did it, so then he did it.
And here's Kurt now doubled. And then we bring Dave in at a higher octave, and it's like, I never knew Dave is in any of these songs.
No.
He's almost in every song here.
And now here's the thing, is that that was so cool to me.
Yeah.
Lennon loves Foo Fighters. She fucking loves Foo Fighters. And so I showed her this, and she was like, she didn't know how records are produced. I don't really fully get it.
She doesn't.
It's like it's a crazy, like, I see that board and I'm just instantly intimidated. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But he's doing that, and then I played her this thing, and it was just like, it's so cool. And then we decided to double Dave, and it's like but you hear Dave, and it's clearly him, and it's like I didn't pick up on that. I never heard Dave here.
It's mixed so well. It's just, it sounds like one vocal.
Yeah.
It's a credit to the engineering that went into this
album. But also, it's a credit to Kurt and Dave, who could sing different takes, but be dead on.
Yeah.
And just do, they just fucking nailed it. They did a great job.
Totally.
Okay. So that's what I have to say about In Bloom. I think it's great. And I love the doubling, and the Dave Grohl even sings on it. It's fucking cool.
The whole song is cool. The lyrics, you're getting like imagery of, I don't know. It's Kurt always kind of gravitated around like bizarre,
dark shit.
You know, it would be like even the art style of the next album was like all medical mannequins.
And that's the thing, like,
terminology.
The first lyrics are "sell the kids for food."
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing they say.
Tender age in bloom is bringing up ideas of too, like puberty and
it's just like, it was just. I mean, honestly, like, I feel like there's a lot that went into his suicide, but like, he was kind of a dark person,
or at least a cynical kind of,
he
like,
saw the world in a different way.
Yeah.
Okay, our next song is "Come As You Are."
Oh, I showed up like this. I came as exactly.
That's exactly what you came. Yeah.
As I was. Third music video from the album.
I don't remember this one. What was
all
the music
three?
Video?
This video, I probably like this video the least.
I don't know.
This is the Kurt's swinging around on a chandelier in a rainy studio.
Oh, yeah.
They rented a big sound stage, and they have Kurt swinging around on a chandelier, and there's water running down some like ruined steps, and there's just rubble and destruction, and like the whole video also is like very through the lens of like a water effect, like it's wavy. You're looking at like a reflection of them in this sound stage. And this is kind of the first like down tempo song too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a little slower. It's not,
especially after Bleach. There was no song like this, even this slow on Bleach.
No, because Bleach I would just consider like a punk album.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so fucking fast and frantic.
Yeah, I agree. This is the first, or maybe the second song I learned to play on guitar because it's so easy.
Yeah,
I think I learned Iron Man first. And then, or just the riff.
Yeah.
Oh,
when I'm trying to think back now too. Yeah, like I took acoustic guitar classes in middle school, and it was like, this is probably one of the first ones I learned too.
I can still play this one. I can't play the guitar, for the record.
Yeah,
like,
me neither.
I can play like 4 little chords I learned, and this is one of them.
This is one.
That's pretty much it.
But yeah, I mean, real down tempo. And the music video was, it was very distorted and all kind of through this heavy rainfall and broken fucking glass and crumbling society, and Kurt swinging around on a chandelier in his sweater or whatever, and the rest of the band kind of playing, but behind this like waterfall effect and all this weird shit. I didn't like the video that much. I also hate the lyrics because when Kurt died, everyone would make jokes about this song.
Why?
And I swear that I don't have a gun.
No.
And it was like, it's fucking low-hanging fruit.
That is.
But I saw that on like every fucking parody of Nirvana ever.
Oh, he swore.
Yeah.
Nah, that's
so that I think maybe is why this song too was like stuck out as like, I probably really enjoyed it before he fucking killed himself.
Like, did people give John Lennon shit for "Come As You Are" because he starts with a "Shoot Me, shoot me, do 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 do."
Oh wow,
shoot me, do 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 do.
I didn't even know that's what he was saying.
Yeah,
I thought he was just going shoot.
No, he's saying "shoot me."
Oh, shoot me.
Yeah, shoot.
He told John Hinckley to do it.
That's is that what people said? I don't know. I wasn't there. So I would say I do. I mean, this is all a great song too.
Yeah, I can't, like last week with Ziggy Stardust, it's like there's not a bad song on the album. I don't have anything negative to say about any of the songs on this album. I could probably pick a least favorite, but every song I think is unique enough in its own way where like I have shit to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
Every song on here, and this was one that I can see why they made a music video of it, but maybe if there was only 3 music videos off this album instead of 4, they could have left this one off.
Okay.
That's all I could say.
I mean, that's fine. Okay, the next song is Breed.
Oh. A lot of distortion there.
Yeah.
So here's the first time we're hearing the grunge pedal.
Yeah.
Listen to fuzz. And fast.
Ooh, it's so fast.
Yeah. How do you do that?
I don't know. But this is the song that we talked about last week to David Bowie about like weird lyrics that we liked.
Yes, yeah.
And
yeah.
I mentioned before we knew you were going to pick this album.
You were singing this on the last episode.
Yeah, I've always loved the lyrics of "We could plant a house, we could build a tree."
Because it's reverse.
As a kid, I was like, "That's so fucking awesome." I don't know.
Yeah.
That always has been like I've loved that.
That's probably the first time because that's a thing. There's probably a fucking name for it too, like in poems or something when you transpose the 2 lines of, but you make that correct in your mind. You understand it because it's one after another.
Yeah.
But this is probably the first instance of me ever hearing this. I can think of like Josh Homme does this kind of thing in some of his Queens of Stone Age lyrics too. It's like you don't say the thing that you're supposed to say. You flip-flop them in the next line. I don't know what you call that, but this is like the first example of that.
Someone's saying that they call it purposeful nonsense, where it's like, but
it's not even nonsense though.
Well, it is. It is. Like, you can't do either of these things. And
it's just reversing the order. It's like we could build a house.
Yeah.
We could plant a tree, but you reverse the order. We could build a tree.
I just think that like it's kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, this is honestly how I live my fucking life, and my wife can attest
My
to this.
dyslexia does this automatically.
Where I will always fuck up the wrong information.
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes it so my sentence is now meaning the opposite of what I meaned it to.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is, I can't tell you how many times I fucked up plans because of just my
saying
mistake.
the accidental wrong thing.
Jenny will be like, "Hey, do you have plans? Are you working on Thursday? Because we want to do this." And I am not working on Thursday, let's say. And I will say, "I am working on Thursday." And it's like, I meant to say, "I am not." But I didn't fucking add the not. The most important part I missed. And then so
it'd be
later,
like you'd have to go like, "I am working on Thursday." Not.
well, I would,
working.
I am not, fuck, Jenny, fuck, I am not working on Thursday. But like there are times I get home and she's like, "So what are you doing on Thursday?" I'm like, I'm not working on Thursday. She's like, "You literally said," and I'm like, "No, I didn't."
You're defensive.
I said I didn't work, and she's like, "Look at the fucking text, bro."
I said we could plan a house.
So I get it.
I meant build a house.
That's how I live my life. I'm like Kurt Cobain.
But yeah, I mean, really, like the first heavy distortion on the guitar you hear.
Yeah.
Dave's playing faster
Fast
than the
as fuck.
devil, and and I should say Chris's bass is always just fucking strumming along like consistently.
Oh, it's so good.
There's a few songs where they open just with the bass line, and I do love those too. We'll get to that, but man, this is another.
Now I think that there was a version or something like where this song, it wasn't omitted, but like this song, I don't think this song gets the love it should. I think this song is like in the top of a couple songs on this album. Like I love this song.
Yeah, I do too.
I do. There are two songs on this album, and I'm sure you can guess the other one. That my mom, when I was a kid, had a saying when a song would come on, and it was, "Turn this shit off." And whenever a song would go fast or hard, she would always say that. "Turn this shit off."
Turn this shit off.
And so there's two songs on this album. Can you guess, Garrett, the other song that was told to
Territorial Pissings?
I knew you knew that. But this was a definite turn this shit off song because it was too fast. But I think this song, Territorial Pissings, I almost even get it. Because we'll get to that later, but it is so hard and fast and screaming and whatever and nonsense. But this always stays in beat. It always is like, there's always a point, I don't know, it never goes off the rails.
Yeah, it never does. It's consistent throughout the whole thing. You know, it's fast, it's fucking loud, it has that grunge sound with that guitar distortion in it.
Yeah.
And I think this one was maybe earlier recorded as a song called Imodium.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you were reading and thinking of, right?
Yes, I think
because
that's what it is.
I should say, I have a book here.
Yeah, what is that?
This is a
Whoa,
book.
it's fucked up looking.
This is a book called Teen Spirit, the stories behind every Nirvana song.
It kind of like, just at a glance, like the Misfits
logo.
logo.
Kind of. It's
for a second.
The Crimson Ghost of Kurt Cobain. But I got this book back in, I don't know, Barnes and Noble days. Like, what's the press? 96.
Whoa.
I picked this up. But this is literally like, it goes through every page. And they're all color coded. There's the Bleach album, then the Nevermind, then Incesticide, and In Utero. And it even goes to Unplugged.
Which, by the way.
Because this was definitely, I think there was a run on products after Kurt committed suicide.
I would agree.
So this definitely came out.
They were the biggest band in the world.
Yeah.
Once this album came out, they were the biggest band in the world.
But yeah, the Breed page here does mention that this was like also recorded but not used, the version from the early Butch Vig session.
Oh,
as
okay.
Imodium,
right,
and then they changed it, called it Breed instead.
Interesting.
But yeah, the lyrics are kind of like all of Kurt's lyrics. It's like, doesn't really need to make sense.
No.
And I think that was a point of contention for people who dislike Nirvana.
I think so.
I met in the like mid 2000s, like 2010 to 2015. I feel like I met a lot of people who had a disdain for Nirvana. Like, oh, fuck that. I hate that band.
Really?
It's fucking terrible. Lyrics don't fucking make... Yeah, I feel like I would just get into conversations with people, and when they found out Nirvana was my favorite band, they would shit all over it.
Well, that's rude. First off,
rude.
not good friend. Not good friend.
Dallas, we're not going to have you back on the podcast
You know what?
for a while.
Don't
here.
yuck his yum.
I'm just fucking around. It's not a Dallas thing. But no, I feel like people got over Nirvana because it was fucking everywhere, and maybe it annoyed them because the lyrics are a bit nonsensical. But this was another one where like I just felt like, song about we could breed, we could have sex.
There are so many times.
What does it come down to in rock and roll? Sex,
drugs,
and drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never know what songs are about, and so I don't care.
This book should tell you.
So Nirvana doesn't affect me in that way because I never sit and think about the lyrics ever. And then I'm told, usually by Jenny again, but it's like, these are fucking dark lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm like, oh, what are they? Oh, I'm literally singing the lyrics, not thinking about what I'm, I don't think about it.
Well, this artist, or this author, I should say, says that the Breed lyrics are tightened into the song's minimal statements of boredom and dismay. It kind of makes sense. We could do this, we could do that. I don't even care.
Yeah.
We could do all three.
She said.
She want to hang out with a chick and
she said
be bored with her. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I never thought about him that much either.
It doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
I listen to the music and I'm into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next song is what I thought was going to be your favorite
Fucking
song.
great
I was
song.
just guessing.
And it's a great song. There's no reason why it wouldn't be my favorite.
Let's give Lithium a little listen. See, it starts off so slow.
Starts slow, yeah.
But then it's not gonna stay slow.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
It picks up.
Oh.
This one had some blasphemous lyrics, I remember.
Are they?
Yeah. Light my candles in a day.
Yeah.
I found God.
Oh yeah. Let's wait till it gets hard. I don't know how long we can do it before Twitch gets mad at us, but let's just do it.
Yeah, they're already mad.
Are they mad? No, they're not mad.
They will be mad in the.
Here we go. Oh my god. Oh, it's so good. I hate to even turn it off, but
I know.
Good, so good. I like it. I'm not gonna change. Is that what he's saying? I like it.
I'm not gonna crack.
Yeah.
I miss you. I'm not gonna crack. I killed you. I'm not gonna crack.
Oh, what song is it?
I love you. I like it.
What song ends with memory? It's coming as you are.
Oh yeah.
Memory. I thought it was saying memory. Memory. But it's memoria with an IA, not memory. Not with a Y.
Memoria?
Yeah.
That's the lyric?
I guess is Latin for memory or some shit. I looked it up. But I was listening to this at home and I had the Apple Music playing on my TV.
Oh,
and it has the lyrics going with it.
Oh, that's weird.
And it was cool. But
are there lyrics in my cassette liner?
But I was like, wait, memoria.
Oh, there are.
Does it say memoria? It's hard to read that. It's all wavy.
Yeah, it's weird. It is all wavy, and it is like it's the Bloom lyrics, but there's not much else here. Some photos and stuff. Yeah. So okay, Lithium. It has that kind of like blasphemous. I'll light my candles in a day.
Yeah,
because I found God. I think you're supposed to
girl.
light your candles once a day, at least for Hanukkah. You don't light them all at once.
Mm-hmm.
But this book also says here that this was an examination of the effects of organized religion on an unstable mind.
Oh, well, yeah, Yeah.
And that fits.
Yeah, it does.
Lithium is a drug. It's an antipsychotic, if I believe correctly. So interesting that they named a lot of songs. Even the last song, being Breed, was originally called Imodium.
Yeah.
It's also a drug.
And this Lithium was recorded in that first session with Butch Vig, I think. It was re-recorded again later.
For this version, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, anyways, let's see. I don't know what else you want to say about Lithium. I think it's a great song. I think they're all, I said all great. The next song, Polly, now this is the slow one that they recorded in Wisconsin, and if you listen closely, you can hear Chad Channing's drum contribution.
This is the original.
Now, if you hear this guitar, I know some things about this guitar.
Okay. Oh, because that's what I was going to comment on is the first time we get a taste of the Unplugged.
This is definitely an Unplugged, and they do the song in Unplugged.
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, Unplugged is on this list. How about that?
Oh, it's in there too.
It's in
Unplugged
there.
in New York. Again, another like thing to put them over. Huge was the
Unplugged. Yeah.
Unplugged. It existed, but it did not get as big as it did until they did it.
Right. I think the Alice in Chains one also is great.
It's very good too.
But
There's a lot of good
okay,
ones.
so this song
Polly.
is fucking dark. Maybe the darkest Nirvana song.
right.
And so
It's slowed. It's sad. It's the first time. Yeah, you're getting Kurt just on an acoustic guitar. The band's there, but only for the parts they come in.
the acoustic guitar too. He bought for $20 at like a thrift store.
Wow.
And didn't really fuck with like the strings because he wanted to sound distorted and not perfect.
Wow.
Because the song and its theme, I don't know if you know what it's about.
Oh, this book told me all about it as a young man, but yeah.
Yeah, so the story itself is, I didn't realize it was a true story, and that was what fucked me up. So there was a girl who I think was 14 who went to a rock show, who then was kidnapped by some...
It was in Seattle in 1987
Yeah.
this happened, yeah.
Kidnapped by some guy named...
At gunpoint.
I forget his name. I know his last...
Gerald Friend.
Friend.
Gerard.
Like Arthur Friend or something.
Gerald Friend, yeah.
And then kidnapped this girl and like...
At
put
the
her in a
community,
trailer.
they were at the Community World Theater in Tacoma, Washington,
And so
and it was like a punk show, and he fucking kidnapped her in the parking lot.
And like rape and tortured her. It's like the most fucking heinous shit.
It's like Twin Peaks. She was taken to a trailer the dude lived in and tortured her
With a blowtorch.
whips, razors, a blowtorch.
Yeah, and so
it's really like fucking Fire Walk with Me, dude.
It is
really.
Well, I haven't seen that, but now I definitely don't want to.
It's Twin
but
Peaksy.
It's fucking awful. It's terrible.
Yeah.
She then later convinced the dude that she was falling for him.
Yeah.
And then escaped
She escaped in his car.
in his car.
Yeah.
And
and
so this song, I guess Kurt,
he's still in prison, Friend.
yeah, well, he did this before.
Yeah.
And he was out on parole. Are you fucking serious? That's insane.
It's like the Dahmer shit.
I know. It's fucking awful. So then Kurt Cobain read the story and was like, that girl is a fucking badass. And then wrote this song, but he writes it as a perspective of the kidnapper. Like
Yeah, that's interesting.
he wrote it not talking about the story. He's not a narrator. He, in the story, is that Arthur Friend fiend guy, whatever.
Yeah. Gerard.
Yeah. But it's so fucked up. But I will say that the reason I think that he wanted to have that guitar sound like that was something is instantly off. Like it sounds fucked up from the beginning. And like a lot of people are saying, there's a lot of debate on this song. Some people say it's like a feminist song, like saying like he's like Kurt Cobain was a feminist and like is writing like how this guy, he's no hero and he wrote himself as the narrator, but to kind of show how like pathetic he is.
Sure, yeah.
You know,
I mean, he wanted to tell the story from that perspective. That's an artist's decision to make, and it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm seeing here too that when they recorded this before the David Geffen sessions, when this first got sat down, or laid down to tape with Butch Vig, he felt that it fully captured the horror and the dark nature of the crime, and it was frightening and truly moved the producer, and they just remixed that version for this album.
I mean, it's a terrible story. I mean, thank God that she survived.
Yeah.
And I don't think, honestly, much is known about her. So I have no idea what she thinks of this song. You know, like, does she know that this? I mean, I'm sure she must.
She must know now.
She must know.
The fucked up part is it came full circle in 1991 when a couple people raped a girl while singing Polly.
Don't say that.
This is yeah. Cobain addressed the incident in the liner notes of Incesticide, the next album.
Okay.
Which we've talked about Incesticide a couple times. It was mainly
big B-sides.
B-sides, demos, and stuff that like existed kind of before the recording of Nevermind. So even the version we talked about early, Polly's the only song to be released on 2 albums.
That's fucking terrible.
But the Polly version is like so fast and sped up and different, and this one is so slow and sad and scary. But yeah, apparently in the liner notes of Incesticide, he addressed
That
he
crime?
he refers to the two rapists as two wastes of sperm and eggs.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, he said he had a hard time knowing that there are plankton like that in our audience.
Yeah, that's fucking terrible. Well, anyways, so that's Polly, a very dark song, but like before this week, I just thought it was a made up story, and so I always I knew it was
Polly
dark.
says- I just never thought. I never
never
think
thought
about it
Well,
when I'm
Polly
singing
wants
along
a
the
cracker
song,
is how
yeah.
it starts. So I think it's about a fucking bird, and then that's what he's doing is he's gotta clip her wings. Like I just thought it was about a fucking bird. It's not.
It's not.
It's not. Anyways, okay, so now let's move on to another "Turn That Shit Off" song.
Sean's mom didn't like this. Hey, before you play it,
Oh yeah.
the first thing you hear now is Chris Novoselic's beautiful voice.
Oh really?
That's
Chris
the
Novoselic?
that's the
Oh, 'cause
opening.
Oh really? Okay, here we go. That's not Kurt. Really? This is one time singing in Nirvana. Is he singing ever again?
It's a song
I
called
guess he does.
Marigold.
Yeah, he does,
He
yeah.
sings an entire song called
Dave Grohl?
Marigold. No, Chris
Chris
Novoselic.
Novoselic sings Marigold.
But this is fucking fuzzed, loud, fast as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Oh, good song.
But yeah, that was like the first time I had heard Chris Novoselic sing. You know, and it's just that little intro that it almost sounds like he's talking through a telephone.
I mean, that could be Kurt. Like, right? Like,
if you listen to it, I can hear him in there now. But yeah,
yeah. Do you now? Is this is your favorite song? We haven't gotten to your favorite song yet, right?
not yet.
Okay.
But Territorial Pissings is a good one.
It's a good one.
What's this one about?
I don't know.
Oh, you do think?
I have no idea. Oh, I was going to say that I think that for me, this song, I heard it the least of any song on this album because of my fucking mom. So like I know it. I mean, I still have listened to it a lot, but it's not my favorite. You know what? I think that Nirvana as a fast, heavy band, I'm not looking for them for that all the time. Like I think
Sure.
I think it's great.
This is a good throwback to like what
Agree.
Bleach was.
I agree, and I
Yeah.
do think that like this, I'm happy this is on here. But like I think that's why Bleach doesn't do it for me so much is because it's so much like this song, and I'm glad that there's so much variation on this album. I mean, honestly, we went from Polly, a song with 4 drum hits,
Yeah.
to this,
Yeah.
right off the like that. What a fucking shift in gears, you know? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I use the word punk when talking, and I did it last week on David Bowie's album too, because there are just certain things that are punk about a certain part of a song. And this one has that too. Which that was another point of contention I remember with friends of mine around the time I'd be like discussing this album in, middle school with my friends. They're not punk. The Misfits are punk. The Dead Kennedys are. These are grunge guys. Right. But it's like, yeah, but do you hear that? You hear how fast and
this is
fucking
definitely
aggressive the playing and the singing is? This was a one-take recording.
Was it really? Oh, probably
Kurt Cobain's
his
voice
couldn't do it again.
Gone. Yeah. His voice is blown out before the track is over. And that's what I love about how this song builds and it gets to the point of screaming, and like the last line's like a better way. It's like a better way. Like he can't even
like dead.
He can't even hold the note at the end. But this song is about alien abduction.
When I was an alien, is that how it starts?
Yeah.
When
I was an alien.
An alien. Yeah.
Longstanding Cobain fantasy of extraterrestrial heritage was part of the inspiration for Territorial Pissings. So it's like about him being an alien, having alien DNA.
See, he always takes a role, like he's always puts himself as like a monster or something. I have always loved the lyrics though of just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. I think I've always
I do love that too.
Always love that.
This is also interesting. Instead of plugging his guitar into the amp and miking the amp to record, he plugs the guitar directly against the wishes of Butch Vig into the recording console. This is something that he did even back. Their first band name was Fecal Matter.
Right.
There's a couple weird Nirvana names before.
It was Bliss for a little bit too.
Yeah. But even in those early Olympia, Washington bedroom recordings for Fecal Matter, Kurt was like, no, I can make it sound fucking distorted as hell by bypass the amp, just plug directly into the equipment.
Wow.
And that's how that guitar tone sounds that way. It's not through an amp mic'd, it's directly into the console, probably through a pedal. But yeah, that's just another weird little trick that he brought. And the pre-engineer's like, you don't do it this way, but I'll listen. And they got gold.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Tutorial Pissing. Now let's move on to the song Drain You.
Oh, my favorite song?
This is it?
Yeah. This is my absolute favorite song.
Of all time?
Of all time.
Hell yeah.
I think I could tell you the lyrics. You know, I could sit and write them down on a notepad and get them 99% correct. It's like lived inside me, this song.
Yeah. Now, I will say that I do think this is like one of the best songs.
Often covered too. This is a big song for a lot of bands have covered this song over the years.
Yeah. Did you ever cover this song?
I've tried.
Did you?
Yeah, I've tried. I love singing this song.
Yeah.
But
do you karaoke of the song?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
tons of times.
Okay.
But I don't have I don't think I have a recording of me. It's hard to cover a song if you can't play guitar.
You know
what I mean?
that is tough.
But this is, I just think, like the most beautifully written lyrics on the entire album.
Okay.
This to me is like a love song, and I think the lyrics are definitely like weird. The imagery is weird. Chew your meat for you, pass it back and forth in a passionate.
But in a passionate kiss.
It's a sexual.
From my mouth to yours. That is weird.
The whole song is like describing some alien sex act in a way, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like the most beautifully sung song I think on the album too. The notes are stretched out more, and he's not just like getting through the lyrics, and I really like this song.
This is a great
lot.
This is a great fucking song.
I believe this was one of their favorite songs to play as well.
Oh, really?
I remember, I don't know where I heard that, but I had always heard, Kurt kind of started to hate, you know how Radiohead hates playing Creep?
Yes, I do.
There's a lot of songs like that with a lot of bands, I feel like.
Yeah.
But this wasn't one of them. With Nirvana, I feel like I had always liked playing Drain You.
Yeah, but I bet they got sick of playing songs like Teen Spirit.
I bet you they did.
Bet you
yeah.
did. Okay, well, I'm glad that now we know Garrett's favorite song. One day, maybe we'll get to my favorite song of all time.
Absolutely.
Is it in this book?
Is it? Do you know if it is?
I don't know, but maybe. I think it probably is. I would be surprised if it wasn't. So maybe one day we'll find out.
And this song feels the most like it was ahead of the Nevermind sessions, and this could have gone on in utero. Especially because of the imagery with babies and the artwork and the baby-like aliens depicted in the in utero artwork. It almost seems like that he's singing about those kind of characters in this.
Yeah.
It says here his fascination with the macabre and baby plastic model kits of realistic baby dolls and medical grade equipment and surgical supplies was basically like the inspiration for this song.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously babies were a theme in this album.
Oh yeah, we got a baby up there.
We got a baby up there. We can get into that baby.
I got my baby tattoos on the shoulders.
You do. Okay, let's move on now to unless you have anything more to say about Drain You.
No, I'm just reading here. He did tell Rolling Stone magazine in 1994 that it is equally as good as a song as Teen Spirit.
Okay, yeah.
He kind of felt like, why didn't this one go as big
this
as
is
Teen Spirit? This is as good as it is.
Definitely.
If not better.
If not better. Now we're going to move on to Lounge Act.
Ba-doom, boo-doo-doom. I don't think you started it.
I did.
Oh, there it goes. That's that delay.
It's just that delay
It's
in
like
the song.
4 seconds of silence.
Yeah.
But you got the Chris Novoselic bass
Yeah.
opening this track. And some different vocal style.
Yeah.
He's got an effect or something on his voice. And he's just talking.
Yeah, you're right. But then later he's gonna start screaming.
Yeah, it picks up.
Oops.
The bass intro is fucking killer.
I agree. I think the whole song is killer. And like, even like I listening to it again with the knowledge that Dave Grohl was like, yeah, it's kind of like a pop album, but like it's just like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally see it with like this song in particular because you would never think that, but then you listen to it, it's like no, like dun 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 dun. It's like I can see like.
It's Taylor Swift.
It's not Taylor Swift, but it's definitely poppy, and it sounds, in the chat right now they're saying this one sounds like from the 1960s, and like maybe that's why I call it lounge act. I don't know, but like it definitely gives me a vibe of like that song pattern is like very poppy, in this very heavy song where he's screaming his head off at the end,
Yeah. I mean, they were friends with, and Kurt was friends with, we talked about the gals from Bikini Kill.
Yeah.
What was her name? Vale?
I thought it was Hannah Vale.
I think
Vale,
that,
Hannah.
yeah.
I don't know.
So the book here is kind of talking about how this was written about them kind of coming out of that Olympia, Washington riot girl scene. All those like female led bands were kind of popping out of the same kind of camp that they were in. And that seems to be the inspiration for the lyrics here.
Yeah.
After their breakthrough in that Seattle Olympia scene, other riot girl bands and music started kind of popping up around the same time. On Nevermind's Lounge Act, it ends with a bit of studio playfulness. The band, unable to come up with an ending, were completely happy with simply slowing down the tape machine to create a groaning decrescendo. And you hear that at the end of the track.
You do, yeah.
Where it's the last fucking screams, because, the vocals start very chill, and then he starts screaming out the towards the end of the song.
Yeah.
And then it ends with a...
Yeah.
And it stops, and the tape just kind of drowns out.
Which, I mean, back to the producing of this, like, how do you think to do that?
Yeah, they're going, we don't know how to end it, Butch. And he's like, I got you.
Like, how do you
keep playing?
How do you and it's, I guess, a static.
Experimentation, I feel like, is
around.
like so much of that.
And I kind of feel like you need someone who doesn't really know what they're doing all the way. Not to say he didn't know what he was doing, but he had never done, I think, an album on this scale. I mean, obviously, this is probably one of the biggest albums he's ever done.
Yeah.
You kind of need someone to fuck up and plug the guitar into the board, or you need to
figure that out.
Wrong to if you want to innovate, you got to fuck it up. You can't have like the old man who's like, this is how we do it. I produced Elvis's album, and this isn't how he does it. It's like, I'm gonna fuck. It's 1991 now. Fuck off.
Yeah. We mentioned Toby Vale from Bikini Kill. I think
Yeah.
this song was also kind of about their breakup because they previously dated. And this is, according to the book here, the singer is addressing a split between love and art, and how do you balance that relationship?
Probably hard,
and it caused a breakup.
Probably
and it,
hard.
It could be, but again, like I didn't know that listening to this song.
No,
and I don't know that that's 100% accurate because this dude,
it's not official.
This dude Chuck wrote a book because he wanted to get paid, right?
Okay, now we're gonna listen to "Stay Away."
Stay away. Again, like the hardest hitting
He's
drums.
fucking wailing.
And fast, too. And it never fucking slows down. This song stays fast.
Yeah. Okay, now.
This one is definitely a B-side.
I agree. And I would say, and this
along with Lounge Act.
This is not to say I don't like this song, but I think it's my least favorite song on this, maybe on this album.
If I had to pick a least,
if you had to pick one to go, which I wouldn't want to do, but I made Dick do that for Abbey Road. Like, hey,
what
would
one
you
to
make
go?
leave? Just because it's a fun question to ask someone to the album they love. But yeah, I feel like
Lounge Act and Stay Away are both kind of they're the B-sides for a reason on this album.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, it's still
But
good.
If one could go, either one of those could go. Yeah. Maybe the secret track too could go.
Oh,
that counts.
See, I'm not going to count that.
Okay,
all
right.
If it does count, that can count.
All right.
Because it's a secret.
But yeah, Stay Away. Apparently here it says it's the Nevermind track with the longest history.
Oh.
The basic riff had first been used by Cobain when he recorded the Fecal Matter tape. And he hung on to the riff, developed it into a full piece of guitar music. And it later became the song that it is now.
Interesting.
So that is interesting.
How about that? Okay. Now we talked about Stay Away, but let's talk about...
And there's not much to say.
No, I mean...
other than Stay Away. What's the song about, really? I don't know.
Stay Away. From...
you know what? It's probably about him and wanting to distance himself from the fame he was getting. Although maybe he wasn't...
before he was
before
that famous,
but yeah, this would have been before that happened.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a dark omen.
Oh, he knew.
He's going to have to be telling people to stay the fuck away.
Leave me alone. Okay, here we go. Ooh. Fucked up at the beginning. It's all distorted.
It's all distorted.
But we're going to get back in.
On a Plane.
Yeah.
Another beautifully written song.
Yeah. Better than you. I know it's wrong, but what can I do? What should I do?
Like Drain You, I think the lyrics are beautiful in this song.
Yeah, I love this song.
And again, there's some like stretched out vocals that aren't as aggressive as some of the other songs on this album. There's like tons of harmonies. You got the guys in the background of the song going,
yeah. Is this on Unplugged?
No.
Polly is.
Polly is for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
But On a Plane is this is a fantastic song too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they're saying in the chat too, but like
when it breaks down after the first chorus, it's like somewhere I have heard this before.
Yeah.
You got Kurt stretching out his lyrics now to actually like vocalize like a singing voice.
Right.
And that sounds really fucking good with how heavy this song is.
Yeah.
I love this song.
I love this song as well. Now
you're burning through it.
Well, we are also an hour and 17
I want to beat
You-
Dick's record. I told you this next one's going to be at least 2 hours.
I think we can beat Dick's record. Don't you worry, Garrett. You want more to say about I'm on a Plane? Because I'm loving it.
No, I'm
Go
just
ahead.
trying to think like what is this song about? But
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But you can't hear Dave Grohl singing on this.
You can, and I bet Chris Novoselic's back there too for those backing vocals.
Probably. Yeah.
Apparently, this song is about trying to write a song.
Well, they did it, and it's a good one. Now we're gonna talk about. You thought Polly was slow. No.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna get even quieter, even slower.
This is the last song on the album.
Proper.
Officially, the last song on the album. Yeah.
Oh,
and is
it even on?
It's a quiet one, right? Yeah. We're back to only acoustic guitar.
Yes.
Just like On a Plane.
And I feel like I'm going to see The Batman with Robert Pattinson.
I was going to bring that up. I put that in my notes too.
Did you?
Yeah. How this song got a huge resurgence. With a whole new generation
I'm
going to
skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I want to get to the fucking cello.
I put that in my notes too. That's so amazing.
Ugh. We're just so in sync, Garrett.
But yeah, here's like the saddest lyrics about something terrible happening. I don't know exactly what, but it doesn't sound good.
Probably
You're
fucking
living
story of
underneath a
Polly.
bridge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he lived under a bridge in Olympia because he was homeless for a time, Kurt was. So, like, is this relating to that, Hard Comforts, the chilly dreamscape of Something in the Way was based on Cobain's period of homelessness. It's confirmed here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that cello that comes in.
That cello is beautiful. But like, the thought that there'd be a cello on a Nirvana on this album before Unplugged.
That's very key because there was almost after this album, the main triumph of Nevermind is that it's 3 people. The next iteration of Nirvana from after this point on, they got Pat Smear in, from the Germs.
Right.
They got even Laurie Goldston is considered the 5th member of Nirvana, and she plays the cello on this song in the Unplugged, as well as many stringed instruments on that Unplugged album. Mm-hmm. But the guy who played it on this was a guy named Rick Canning. And they knew him through a friend of another band. And I think everyone had trouble matching Kurt's timing and energy when recording this. Because
they did.
Kurt recorded the guitar and the vocals, and then everyone else, Dave.
Do you know how he recorded it?
No.
Okay, so I do.
Okay, please.
So they were trying to do this in the studio, and it sounded too big because they were in the same room again where they recorded Rumors. It was just a big live room to get a big sound.
At the studio?
In L.A. Sound City.
Wherever Butch Vig was recording this thing.
Sound City.
Yeah, it'll say right here.
So then what Kurt did was he went into the room with Butch Vig, the producing room, and was like, I want it to sound like this. And Kurt laid down on his back and played the guitar and barely sang.
Yeah.
And so Butch was like, don't move. And he got a mic in that room and hooked it up to Kurt.
He's in the engineer's room?
In the engineering room.
Fuck.
Laying down. And then Butch Vig is like, I held my breath for 3 minutes while he recorded his part. I was just like, so I wouldn't make a sound.
You could hear his heartbeat.
But because of that, he didn't have a click track, which is what they always record when.
That's why they had such a hard time.
So they couldn't.
Because I just kept reading about how hard of a time they had to match this.
Yeah, because he didn't have a click. So he was just going like, a click track is always going so you can stay on the right sound. And so when they brought in Novoselic and Dave Grohl, it was like, well, this is off. And the cello was like also like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
So they had to kind of go with what he did then. And it was just, it was they said maybe the hardest song to record because of that.
That's what I read. It was like, Rick Canning, who was doing the cello for him. And then Dave was like, I can't play that lightly. We're talking about how heavy this dude hits the drums.
Yeah.
And now he's being forced to like, just fucking baby fucking strength. Just tap this out.
Yeah, but but also not with the click track and this being off and trying to get it right.
Yeah. And Chris is there in the background the whole time playing.
But now we hear that song.
How deep that bass is tuned as well in this song. This song is a funeral dirge, and I love it for that.
Yeah, and it really, I think it inspired a lot of things. I think it inspired Nirvana Unplugged to even happen because of the cello.
This and Pauly were the first times too. Yeah, you're seeing just an acoustic guitar.
Yeah. In
the fucking album version.
And as you said, like back to
and the cello, right? Yeah.
And with Nirvana Unplugged, they had the cello there.
Right.
But they also it was Kurt's idea to have all the lilies and the flowers. And then the set decorator was like a funeral? And he's like, yes, like a funeral is what I wanted. And so it looks like a fucking funeral. The set does for Nirvana Unplugged, and we'll get into that one day. But I think this song is what kind of spurred that whole thing from even happening.
Yeah,
because it seems like
that totally makes sense. Yeah, because they're kind of whoever approached him with that idea too was probably looking at the 2 tracks on this album that are very much in line with the Unplugged format and going, you guys would really reinvent the whole fucking show if you did it.
So this is my theory also. I haven't read anything about this, but I could just see that happening. I love this song, and I do think it's the perfect way to end this album.
Yeah.
But it didn't. Well, here's the thing.
And we talked about the Batman thing already.
We talked about the Batman thing.
And I'm very thankful that the Robert Pattinson Batman from, 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
They put this in the trailer. They put this in the movie. It's a fucking credit theme.
Yeah.
And it gave a new life to this song and probably this album with a whole new generation of kids that weren't listening to music from the 90s, right?
Yeah.
They're fucking hearing that for the first time when they watched the Batman and going, what is
when
this?
It started in the theater, I heard that first guitar strum. I was like, the fuck? It was the trailer.
So I saw it in the trailers,
and I was just like, wait, what? Like Batman?
Of all songs, I would never guess in a million years a movie would ever make this song popular, because this is not a popular song.
No.
This is if you're a Nirvana fan, you know it.
I know it.
But like, I doubt they even play this at fucking concerts.
Ask any Nirvana song fan, like name a song or name 5 songs. They wouldn't.
No one's saying something in the way
one.
before the Batman movie.
No. But I do think it's a beautiful song. It's a great song.
Sure.
And it's
do we know what that one's about? Oh yeah, the homelessness. We just said that.
Yeah. So now here's the thing. That's where the album ends. So I thought
supposedly that's where my cassette ends.
That's where my CD ended.
Because it's the first printing.
Apparently, there is another song that's a hidden track that was supposed to be on it. It didn't end up being on it. It wasn't on it originally.
Yeah.
So they sold the first like how many hundreds of thousands, and then it wasn't on it. And then Kurt was like, "What about Endless Nameless?" And they're like, "Oh, I didn't think you wanted that on there." And it's like, "Well, no, that was like that's the hidden track." So there was a hidden track.
It came on 10 minutes after. After Something in the Way ends, there was 10 minutes of silence.
Right.
This was a very common thing on CDs. I had a Marilyn Manson CD. They did this.
Green Day did it.
Yeah, it was common in the CD boom.
Mm-hmm.
But even, I bet on the cassette releases too, there's like 10 minutes of silence and then they put the song on.
I don't know. Yeah, so Endless Nameless, and let's
if you download this now or you're using like a
Apple
streaming
Music,
service,
it was just there. And
it's just on the album.
So
now.
here's the thing is like, I've listened to this album 10 billion times. And so I'm listening to this, and I'm looking at the track list, but like I listen to it, I'm like, Endless Nameless, what the fuck? I know everything back to front, and I don't know what.
You're like, that's not on mine.
What the fuck is this? And then I play it, and we get this.
Already, the bass is distorted.
Yeah.
The bass even sounded fucked up from the beginning. This song is just an excuse to smash your instruments,
which
happen
I
in the
think
song.
Is absolutely, and what we can get to, like, this is a 6-minute song,
and there's a point where you can hear Kurt smashing his guitar in the studio, which kind of became a thing Nirvana
almost a gimmick.
It almost did.
Now
it had been a gimmick for other bands for like I want to say. Well, you got Jimi Hendrix lighting his guitar on fire, smashing his guitars. Hendrix did it first, probably.
Yeah, but then Nirvana would destroy every amp and drum set and everything.
And the Who would do that too, right. So it was a very similar thing. But yeah, like the show that I just watched them play. Derek was so fucking awesome and made me a custom VHS of their 1994. San Diego Sports Arena concert that I couldn't go to because I was too young. My parents wouldn't let me go.
Yeah.
But I had and lost a bootleg of this, so Derek made me a brand new one, and it's like
honestly,
best it's ever looked and sounded.
The ironic thing is, he gave that to you right before we recorded the David Bowie episode, right before you picked this album.
Right.
But, yeah, he also put in, like, every time like the local news would have a story about that concert, he found that and put that on the tape.
Commercials with Bobcat Goldthwait in.
Yeah.
Put the off the record concert from a year previous.
He even made custom artwork. Artwork.
Oh,
and it's the
so
marquee
sick.
And it says Nirvana, the show my parents wouldn't let me go to.
Dude, it's like the best Christmas gift I got.
Such a nice present.
I totally like went home that night and ate it up. And really, just watching that concert and realizing like, yeah, they smashed their guitars after that. This song ending the album is perfect because that's how they end a concert.
Now, and
it's feedback loops. It's degrading over time.
I think that Chris Novoselic has said a lot of times, like, we did that because we didn't want to do an encore. And we knew if we smashed our shit,
can't do an encore.
And no one's expecting us to.
How fucking
There's
funny.
No expectation
How
anymore.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it.
We're done. And like, even if like, or it's like, hey, you know what? I don't feel like playing anymore. We're 45 minutes in. We did enough. I'm gonna smash this fucking shit. And people still got a show.
Yeah.
And they saw us like go crazy and destroy our shit, but they're not expecting anything else. And I'm done. And so that's what they would do.
And you fast forwarded it 6 minutes in, and it's still like
it's
noise.
Nonsense. It's noise.
It's fucking
and it really, but
absurd.
I do think,
but I love that. I never heard bands throw feedback
into
the music.
Mm-hmm.
The things you're not supposed to have on the final record,
all
make it into this record.
But it didn't. It did, but it also didn't.
It also didn't at first, right?
This song is just kind of a nothing, but it's them, the equivalent of them smashing their instruments, and they're just done now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't even really count it as a song on this album, really. You know, like it's
to me, this is always
because
just like
I didn't know it was even there.
it fit on B-side or bootleg albums that I
thought it
had.
was from Incesticide.
Because
I've heard this before. I
yeah.
did not know it was on this originally.
I heard it the first time probably on Outcesticide, which were a volume of bootlegs I would find at like Music Trader.
Yeah.
That just had live concert tracks, demos, early bootlegs, and I think I have like 6 volumes. There's Outcesticide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I would always find these at record stores, and they were completely illegal bootlegs, but I would find them on CD, and it would have shit like this on it, or that song Marigolds I was talking about, where Chris actually sings the whole fucking song.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, you know, I was just going through the songs, and I was so like, I went to Garrett in the shop. I'm like, Garrett, I don't know this song,
and
like,
I knew it by name
this?
when you said "Endless and Endless."
Like,
that's a Nirvana song.
And I'm like, but then I did more research. I'm like, oh, that's why I didn't.
You
know
were like,
it.
"How does it go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't."
And I
don't
think,
know,
and it
but
was
I
like, it
wouldn't-
all clicked. Like, oh, this is why. I listened to like the CD my dad had, and I never. And then I burned that CD, and I put that on my computer. I've been listening to that for years, and I never went to like the iPod Music version of it, and I didn't. You know, anyways. So
you never waited the 10 minutes of silence.
I didn't do that. So here we go. This is what I was gonna say. Is this album? Obviously, they were hoping. Their goal was like, if we could sell, 250,000 copies, that would be the best.
$250,000.
That would be ideal. That'd be like shooting for the stars. Best case scenario, miracle if it happens. It ended up, now it's one of the best-selling albums of all time. It has sold over 26 million copies. It still sells today. I still think that Dave Grohl gets more money from this than like residuals from Foo Fighters. Like, I think this album.
It put Francis Bean in the most cush position of a person's life.
Like, Kurt Cobain's net worth
pays for
is
Courtney's
$450 million.
Yeah.
And this is really
that's his 1/3 split.
Yeah.
Courtney's getting the majority of the money. Dave's getting some. Chris getting some.
Yeah.
Also, Chris Novoselic's name is so bothersome.
Yeah.
His name is Chris Novoselic.
Right.
His stage name is Christ, like Christ, but they just pronounce it Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
also, Pat Smear's real name isn't Pat Smear, but this comes, like we talked about in the Sex Pistols, the punk rock name. You got a silly name like Sid Vicious, Johnny Rotten. Pat Smear sounds like Pap Smear.
It does.
His name isn't even Pat. It's like it's something completely different.
Yeah.
But that, he came from the Germs, so he had a punk rock stage name, so that kind of followed him into Nirvana.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So, anyways, overall, it changed music. It made this, like the Seattle grunge scene existed because of this. Like, I'm sure another band would have, Soundgarden would have still existed or whatever. But I think that this.
But I think
is the one credited for starting it all, which is one of my favorite genres of music. I love the Seattle grunge music and Soundgarden and everything that came.
How punk rock
and
evolved in this little area of the country, and sure, it would have went in a different way. Maybe everyone would sound like Pearl Jam.
Ugh.
Could have been.
Yeah,
could have been
that's
a bunch
the
of
one
Eddie
exception.
Eddie Vedder clones.
There's gonna be a week like Pearl Jam's in here, and I fucking hate
I
Pearl
do
Jam.
like Pearl Jam, so I'm not gonna
Pearl
shit
Jam.
on. But
okay,
but yeah, like this fucking album changed everything.
Yeah.
And I think about a movie quote from The Wrestler, where he's talking with a stripper, and they're reminiscing, listening to Guns N' Roses, talking about how fucking good rock and roll was in the 80s. And then that pussy Cobain came along and ruined everything. And that's the fucking line in the film. And it's just like, yeah, the previous generation who was into fucking Aerosmith and Van Halen and Rat. And
it is. They're all.
This fucking album came out, and the fucking glam party was over.
Which I am not sad to see go.
David Bowie started it, right?
Yeah. Nirvana killed it.
And then Nirvana fucking killed it. So
Yep.
how cool we get to bookend these 2 episodes back to back.
Yep.
But I love that quote, and I always think about how that pussy Cobain came and ruined everything. And it's just like, yeah, man, then Guns N' Roses really shifted their next album.
Yeah.
And everyone in the industry shifted into, hey, we're not doing this thing anymore. Look at what just fucking came out. Like, we got to step it up.
Oh, this is a long thing to read. Oh, wow. I always read what...
I like that you always read this, though, because...
eventually, I'll have read this whole book,
Yeah.
So, an overnight
will, too.
success story of the 1990s. Nirvana's second album is like a totematic... And it's this fucking book.
This fucking
Totemic
guy.
first single, Smells Like Teen Spirit, shot up from the Northwest Underground. Then... God damn you. The grunge scene in Seattle, I'm skipping a word here, I don't know. In Seattle to kick Michael Jackson's Dangerous off the top of the Billboard charts and blow hair metal off the map.
Yeah.
Few albums have had such an overpowering impact on a generation. A nation of teens suddenly turned punk and such a catastrophic effect on its main creator. The weight of success led to already troubled singer Kurt Cobain to take his own life in 1994. But this slashing riffs, corrosive singing, divisively oblique writing, rammed home by Zeppelin via Pixies, bassist Christ.
I hate it.
I
It's
know,
so annoying.
I know. Novoselic and drummer Dave Grohl put warrior purity back into rock and roll. Lyrically, Cobain raged in code, shorthand grenades of inner tumult and self-loathing. His genius through on songs like Lithium, Breed, and Teen Spirit was the soft, loud tension he created between the verse and the chorus, restraint and assault. Nirvana had come out of, that word again, upper Northwest indie rock scene, releasing their promising but somewhat murky-sounding debut Bleach in 1989, but Cobain was a pop lover at heart, there we go, and Beatlemaniac. Nevermind co-producer Butch Vig remember hearing Kurt play Lennon's Julia at sessions. Even though his songs might have been kind of noisy, Vig said, they still had a really beautiful melodies, but Cobain also fought to maintain his underground honor with songs like Scarborough's Punk Purge Tutorial Pissings. Ultimately, it was a losing battle, but that almost visceral sense of tension is a part of the album's enduring power. Vig recalled when Cobain was forced to overdub the guitar intro, Teen Spirit, because he couldn't nail it live with the band. That pissed him off. He wanted to play the song live all the way through.
Yeah.
Woo! That was a lot. Wow.
Who wrote that book? Or is it each a different writer?
Different writers.
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
Originally, although it's ironic, oh my god, I gotta make dinner tonight. No. I'm making Japanese curry.
Are we running
tonight.
late?
I am. Well, I make Japanese curry. It takes a while.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say that
Tonkatsu.
I got dizzy reading that. It was so much reading. I don't like reading out loud.
Don't stand up too fast.
The original review for this on Rolling Stone gave it 3 stars out of 5.
What?
And now it's number 6 of all time. So that person, they fucked up.
Yeah.
Here is my thought. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. Probably my top 10 list. I fucking love this album. I've always loved this album.
Mm-hmm.
This is such an easy 5 for me. This is a 5. This would have been a 5 for me when I was a kid. It's a 5 for me now. Fucking awesome album.
I don't think this is my favorite Nirvana album.
What is?
In Utero.
Okay. I think this is my favorite Nirvana. This one's my favorite.
Maybe, fucking, it's hard, dude, because I like the weird shit on Incesticide.
Yeah.
And I like the heaviness and the raw power of Bleach. It's undeniable, though, what this album did.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of, like, God, do I like the songs on this one more than this one? And it's almost, with your favorite band, it's hard to pick a favorite album because to me, I know the entire catalog of songs as one, it's all Nirvana.
Yeah.
And I would forget what album has what song on it because for me, it's like, I just know all of it and I love all of it so much. But yeah, I mean, this is deservedly number 6 on the list.
I agree. I agree.
For a reason. How many pieces of vinyl?
For me?
For me and
you.
you.
For you. Oh, 5 for me.
5. It's 5.
5
5 pieces of vinyl.
Okay, so
Do
now...
you show a little thing on the screen that goes like...
I don't, and nor will I.
No, just
much- too
imagine
much
I
work.
did it right there.
Okay. Now we're gonna move quickly because I feel like we broke the record. You got your wish.
We did it.
Dreams do come true.
All right, good.
The song "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye, which is the number one album. We haven't gotten there yet, but that is the number one album of all time according to Rolling Stone.
And we got a
And this is
Marvin
the
Gaye
first-
song
We did.
a couple weeks ago.
It was Sexual Healing.
Yeah.
What's Going On is. I'll just give you a quick
Please.
recap of what the song is about. It's a protest song, kinda, but not really. It's about police brutality
Okay.
and about the Vietnam War, and it's kind of just being like, basically, it was. He didn't write this song. It was somebody else who wrote the song, and he came in. They gave the song to him, and it was like, you do what you want with it. And he changed the lyrics a little bit and made it more of a story. But basically, the guy who wrote the song, like originally, was a guy who was like saw a protest happening against the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Of like these like black guys were protesting the thing, and they started getting beat up by the police. And they said the government's either sending us out to kill us or they're beating us up here. And there is like, what is going on?
What
Like,
is
what are we
going on?
doing? Essentially, is what
Yeah.
the song is about. Then Marvin Gaye got it and changed it to make it more of a story and make it more like, he's talking about like his like mom and his sister and brother. Is it his actual
He's
mom, sister,
relating
brother,
his
or is
life.
or is it just like talking about like people in general? I don't know.
Sure.
But anyways, I think it's a great song. It's a beautiful song, and it's still relevant. And that's the thing that I think it's
That's a mark of a powerful song, is that if it's still relevant today.
Yeah, exactly.
And this one definitely is.
So I have never listened to the actual album of What's Going On. I've listened to the song before, and
Yeah, for sure.
I do think this is like a beautiful song. I love his voice. So this is a 5 for me. I mean, but is it the number 6 song of all time? I guess I had to be there for to see the importance of it in the moment. I wasn't there for that, so I don't really know.
It's got a real heavy subject matter. It's not a heavy song though. It's not like it's not a rock song.
And it's not really a protest
a
song either
gospel
because
song.
it's him asking like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what we're doing.
But even the tempo and the arrangement of it, it's like it's not bluesy, it's not rock. This is an interesting song.
Yeah.
I give it it's an earworm. It gets in there. I give it 3 pieces of vinyl.
Okay, that's fine. But I do think that like the themes today are still happening.
100%.
It's still fucking happening.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I wish to God it was one of those things where it was like, oh, this is a moment in time that we've solved these problems, and that's not the case.
Hey, man, the older I get, I just kind of feel like maybe humanity is doomed to keep repeating the same xenophobia and
One day.
problems. You say one day, I'm still waiting.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I've got that dark Cobain-like view of the world here,
Yeah.
which just to go back to Nevermind real quick, because we didn't talk about the controversy with the album cover
oh my God.
and the penis.
Well, quickly, because I gotta make this Japanese.
yeah,
story.
we got to get you out of here.
But I will say that
The story is this is a friend of the band's son who they said, yeah, throw him in the pool.
Yeah.
Take the photo. Album comes out.
They took a couple pictures of like different. Yeah, and then this is the one that
it's shocking because it's like, all right, it's a naked baby
Well-
going, and they're gonna catch him with a dollar bill.
Yeah.
It speaks to a lot of things in America, right?
Yeah, and so I do think. So what I guess Kurt was saying was like they wanted to put a sticker over the penis,
Yeah.
and then Kurt was like, "You can do that, but the sticker has to the sticker has to say." I'm gonna get this quote kind of wrong, but I'm gonna get that idea right. But it was like, if you're offended by this, then you must be a closet pedophile. Is what the sticker was gonna say.
Oh, interesting.
And then they're like, "Well, we don't want to say. Okay, let's put the penis on.
We don't want that sticker.
We don't want
on.
that sticker on there." So.
But the real interesting story is like, kid grew up, started like going to conventions. Is like, I'm the guy on the Nirvana album. Like, I'll do a signing, $10.
He has a
photo.
tattoo that says Nevermind on his tattoo.
He seemed to be completely content and happy that his parents let him be on this when he was a baby,
Yeah.
and then
we
we come into a world where the consent of a minor is called into question, and people are
No, I think
becoming outraged
it seems
for
to me
nonsense.
this guy wanted some money,
and this guy's also looking to get a little bit more
trying
money.
to sue like Courtney Love and Dave Grohl and all them because he knows that they have money. And then honestly, I think it's still going on because
Yeah, he's saying like, I didn't consent to this. I want to get paid.
Yeah.
I hate that this is out there, and the people are like, you hate that it's out there. You have a tattoo of it.
You posed in the same pool and you did the same thing.
You recreated it from numerous shots as an adult, and you go to conventions and take photos with people as this is the backdrop. Like, you're clearly okay with it.
Yeah. So anyways.
And so that might still be going on.
It's still, actually, I think as of, there's a new update in December that like the judge said like, oh yeah, you can like appeal this if you want and like try to do this again.
I do love
I don't think it's gonna go anywhere.
A shocking album cover.
This is that.
This is that.
It's very shocking.
In a weird way.
Garrett,
my turn again.
pick it again. Are you gonna? I mean, I don't.
I back
the
next
odds
week?
are very small. You pick another album that you'll be on, but
They are small.
he's gonna
odds.
pick another number. Here we go.
285.
280,
285.
which is Third Sister Lovers by Big Star. I have no idea what the fuck this is.
Yeah, you're on your own that
Third
week.
Sister Lovers, Big Star.
Third Sister Lovers. Wow.
Third / Sister Lovers. But I'm looking at the cover art and it says Third. So maybe it's just.
So the name of the band is Third?
I don't know.
We're about to learn something next week.
Well, the chat says it's one of their favorite albums, so I don't know. What the
Okay,
fuck,
we're about to
best
learn.
fucking album. I don't know. And then,
I've really never heard of this.
I've never heard of it either.
At
And the
all. Wow,
song
that's interesting.
285.
285.
Is almost there. We're so close.
We're so close.
Destiny's Child, Say My Name.
Say my name.
That's a good
say
song.
my name.
I know that song. That song I know.
It's a good
Hey
song. That's a good
everyone,
track.
thanks so much
Not
for
really
hanging
rock
out. Garrett,
music,
thank
but-
you so much for breaking the record.
Hey, happy to
You
do
broke
it.
the record, and I appreciate it.
I broke the cassette.
Broke the cassette, broke the record, and my heart. Everyone, thanks for watching Record Club, and thanks for subbing to our Patreon. It was also fun to do this live for the first time. Will we ever do it live again? I don't know, but we did it once.
Will we play more music in the future? We'll see how many ads this one gets on. it.
Oh yeah, we may get some ads. If there's ads that show up on this, we didn't do that, and then well, I'm just not sure what's going to happen with it. So it's an experiment. We'll see if the ads get shown up on this. I hope not, but we'll see. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Sub to our Patreon, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.